Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a podcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from thousands of successful individuals from around the world. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm delighted to welcome an incredibly multifaceted individual, a good friend who has come on The Brand Called You several times from the Netherlands, Mr. Adjiedj Bakas. Adjiedj, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Ashutosh. It's an honor to be your guest again.
Thank you. Adjiedj is an author of several books. Today, we're going to speak about a book that he co-authored, which is Happynomy. We earlier spoke to him about his earlier book, which was Joy, Lessons from a Life Artist. Adjiedj is a trend watcher, an author, a TV personality, and a speaker, and is considered to be exciting on CNN, inspirational on BBC, and provocative on TV2 newscast. So, Adjiedj, let's dive straight into your book. Show us your book.
This is the cover. It's called Happynomy: How Megatrends Can Make Us Very Happy, can shape a happy world and happy people. And I co-authored it with my late husband, Finko David, who died 1.5 years ago. It is the greatest hits of all our speeches from all over the world. He was in charge. He was the Secretary General of the Burner Union, which ensures 13% of the world's international trade. So he knew a lot of international trade and international business, and that is how. So together we wrote from all our experiences, all our views, all our travels, the best insights. So this is about the future of health, the future of technology, the future of trade, and the future of democracy. So there's a lot which is interesting for several.
So before I ask you any questions, I'm going to ask all our viewers and listeners to go and check out Mr. Adjiedj Bakas's book, Happynomy, that he has co-authored. So, Adjiedj, my first question: how do you define economy of happiness?
Well, I usually ask a question to people. This: do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy?
Right.
Do you? Sometimes people spend a lot of time and energy in order of getting people to tell them, yeah, you are right, it is your. But why bother? So I don't care about a lot of things, because the mega trends which are currently happening in the world are happening anyway. So you cannot change that much about it. So don't bother too much. Just make good use of them, and use it for your own development, your leadership, your company, your business. Use it for that. It's happening anyway. So make the best of it.
Oh, wonderful. You also talk about the age of chaos. Can you help us understand what this means for global society and how we can navigate through it?
Yeah. Well, the ancient Greeks used the word chaos to describe the big void, the big nothing, the big space in which everything shifts from left to right, up, top to front, everything shifts. And the old world order transforms into the new world order, which is currently happening. So the old world order, which was dominated by the United States, is now shifting to a new world order in which America will have to share power with the BRICS countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, who are also going to empower the global South. Because a lot of people in the global South, which used to be the poor countries, are now being empowered. The middle classes are growing, lower classes are growing, thanks to all the exports from China and India, and so to all of them. So that will be a multipolar world, and it is a fascinating shift.
Well said. Adjiedj, you also talk about karma capitalism, and karma, as I understand it, is a word that comes from the Gita. Can you elaborate on the principles of karma capitalism and how it differs from traditional capitalism?
Well, I call it a way of trickle-down capitalism. So it is good for the rich people, but also good for the middle class, and also good for the lower class, and for the whole society as a whole. So, like so yes, trickle-down capitalism, because some people are just they are already, I call them billionaires with messiah's ambitions. So like Bill Gates, who are only trying to be messiah and only want to create a new kind of feudalism, a new kind of that in the old age that the nobility was the boss and the rest of us had nothing to say. And these is the new nobility, these billionaires with messiah ambitions. So that's not about that. So I want karma capitalism is good for everybody. Good for we had it in Holland a long time ago in the 19th century when the Industrial Revolution started. The rich people also built the rich industrials also built houses for the laborers. They built schools for the children of the laborers so that they could go to school and educate themselves. They built hospitals and medical clinics as well. And so in India, a lot of entrepreneurs are doing the same, like the Tatas, but other people are not doing it. So that is what I tell all people. Be good for yourself and your own wallet and your own bank account, but also be good for society.
Very well said. And Adjiedj, how can individuals contribute towards transitioning towards karma capitalism in their personal and professional lives?
Well, the Dalai Lama used to say, if you think you are too small to make change, try to sleep with a mosquito in a room. This very small mosquito is making a change.
Yeah.
So I think you can just by trying it in your own life. For example, I'll give you some examples because some of the trends we write about is that engineers are now busy. So scientists are now busy. So in 5 years from now, before we die, we can upload our brain and everything is in a brain, which are memories or intelligence or experience or emotions or memories. We can upload in the cloud, and then your children and grandchildren can still communicate with you even after you're dead. So AI also means that we can use the intelligence and the brains of people who are deceased. And I think that's a fantastic trend. That is fantastic. So that means high tech comes with reincarnation. It's going to mix it. So what I think all these technological revolutions are also going to bring along a lot of ethical and spiritual questions as well.
Great response. And how do you perceive the role of digital transformation in achieving a happier economy, and what are its potential pitfalls?
Well, I give you an example. Every doctor usually spends 30% of his or her time on administrative work. Now, already thanks to AI, for example, when the doctor, let's see, you are the doctor, I'm your patient, the computer tapes our conversation, makes a medical summary, uploads it in my medical file, sends your invoice to the health insurance company, sends the recipe immediately to the pharmacy so it gets delivered. And you as a doctor don't have to do all this administrative work. It saves you 30% in time. You don't become a doctor because you love administrative work. You become doctor because you love to cure people and to be busy with them. And then you talk to them. So you don't have to look at your computer screen all the time. You can just talk to them because the computer does it all. And I think that is fantastic. So it's going to make doctors much more happy and much more productive. But so that is why I think that AI is going to help a lot of people with a lot
Well,
of bureaucracy is one of the things that everybody hates.
very well said. And since you spoke of AI, my next question is, that AI does play a significant role in the future that you talk about. What are some of the ethical considerations we need to keep in mind when it comes to AI?
Well, for example, let's say if after I die and my brain is uploaded in the cloud, even with all my memories and emotions, I need to give permission to that before, and who can get into that or not. For example, let's say someone is murdered, and we don't know who the murderer was. But because the police can enter the brains and can enter into the copy of the brain, and so a dead person can witness and says, look, can be a witness and can say, look, that guy killed me. And then you can go to court. But so we have to, that is, the question is, if this is ethical, and how will the laws, we deal with all of this? So for police people, it's also very, very interesting what it's going to do.
Amazing, amazing. And given the amount of work that you do and the trend watcher that you are, how do you see the future of work evolving in the context of digital transformation?
Well, what you see is that a lot of white collar work like you and I do we can really use AI. We can work from home, and of course, a nurse cannot work from home. A handyman cannot work from home. Although we already see, for example, in America, for example, let's say you need a plumber because you have a problem with your toilet. The plumber can come and write his hours, and but the plumber can also coach you through video on your phone how you can do it yourself, and then he sends an invoice for his coaching hours, and he can do it from home. So Holland is today the world champion in hybrid working and working from home. In Holland, a lot of people are working 2 days per week from home, and they can combine it with their household, with taking care of children, taking care of the elderly. So they can do it a lot. We are the world champion in hybrid working. So I think that hybrid working will help, and robotization will also help. For example, if I don't want to walk my dog, you can already have a drone who can walk your dog in the neighborhood. You can, and soon we will get humanoid robots. Tesla is going to make them. China is launching them next year. So on AliExpress next year, you can buy humanoid robots. So a humanoid robot can assist you in doing things that you don't want to do. For example, carry too heavy packages or too heavy luggage or all these things. So thanks to the assistance of this, I think we will be able to have, for example, I have some video clips, for example, of robots helping farmers to plant rice, for example. So then you can see all these little farms in India that people have to bow and they get problems with their back because they have to bow to plant rice and to do that. But they can help, the farmer can rent in the rice season, in the rice planting season, he can rent a robot to help him with that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, well
So
said.
that's why I mean it can help us to make happy, to become more happy.
You also speak about tacit knowledge. Can you talk a little bit about the significance of tacit knowledge in the advancement of AI and its implications for human work?
Yeah, because so many people have much more knowledge than we know, for example. So that is what is the tacit knowledge. And especially if AI is going to help us, creativity becomes more interesting because a computer is, of course, not creative. A computer has never invented a joke. Computers are not creative, humans are creative. So we need to use our creativity much more and much smarter in the future because a robot or AI can never take over our creativity. So the future is a technology with a layer of human creativity around it.
Well said. My next question is, in what ways can technology bridge the gap between the rich and the poor, thereby contributing to a more equitable society?
It can definitely help to that. We see it, for example, in Africa. In Africa, for example, farmers, a lot of farmer women can only sell their products to truck drivers who then transport it to the markets because they demand sex for that. But beside money, they also want sex with the women. So the poor women are now enslaved as kind of sex slaves. So now, due to technology, they can see on the telephone what is the market price. They can sell it online, and they are not dependent from these corrupt truck drivers anymore.
Well said. Can you also share a few examples?
Of course, there are now very smart new toilets, which also can even be installed even in the most remote rural areas. So that is fantastic. What they do in China now is that good teachers in the city, when they are given class, they are taped, they are videotaped, and then later they are streamed to schools in rural areas so that even poor people in remote areas can get taught by the best teachers in the country as well. And the teachers get an extra reward for that. And the children there can also ask questions. So it's interactive as well. So that is also what's happening. So I gave you another example. In China now, since the introduction of 5G internet, a surgeon can sit at home. Let's see, you are the surgeon. I am here, I'm your patient, but I am in a remote area in India. So I can just go to the clinic of my GP or a medical clinic. A nurse can put me on the operation table. So you only need is an operation room, and the operation robot and a nurse. So the nurse puts me there, disinfects me, etc., puts the operation robot there, and the surgeon, you from your home can operate the robotic arms and operate me online. You don't have to travel to me in a remote area.
Mm.
So even poor people in remote areas can get better healthcare this way.
Very well said. Adjiedj, you advocate for a new management culture. What key changes, in your view, need to occur within corporations to align with the values of Happynomy?
Well, what we see, for example, in Europe is the generation who suffers most from burnt outs and depressions is the generation between 20 and 30. I think that's the generation of your children. So the 20s, they suffer a lot from stress, burnout, loneliness, and so managers and corporations should deal with this. As how can we make this generation more happy? Because if and get inspired by the future, for example. But that is a very wide thing. White young people are afraid of climate change. They are afraid they're all going to die because of climate change.
Right.
But in the BRICS countries and in the global south, of course, we experience rough weather now. In India, we have droughts and we have heavy rains. So of course, that is of course, but we just have to deal with that. We have to manage it. According to the United Nations, if we spend 2% of the worldwide GDP every year on adapting to climate change, we will deal well. So for example, in India, we need, for example, it was very hot a couple of months ago, and now we have a lot of rains. So we have to find smart system of how when it's raining a lot, how we can collect the rainwater and then use it when it is drier times. We have to find smarter ways of cheaper air conditioning, of smarter things of how to keep cool, because otherwise people can die from the heat. But worldwide, more people die from cold than from heat.
Amazing, amazing. You also talk about the importance of experiences over possessions for happiness. How can societies shift towards valuing experiences more?
Well, I think, look, when you die, your last shirt has no pockets.
Correct.
You cannot carry everything. So it is more. But when you die, you remember all the nice things you have done, the happiness you had with your friends and family, the nice travels, the nice journeys you made, and all of it. All of this has some disadvantages too, because recent research shows that Indians, of course, Indians in India get hypertension, diabetes, and heart diseases and whatever. But when Indians migrate to other countries, they and their descendants get 10 times more the same diseases. Right. So I am 10 times more vulnerable for these diseases in like strokes, hypertension, diabetes, 10 times more than you. And your children who now live in Singapore had 10 times, and also your granddaughter is now 10 times more susceptible to these diseases. So that is fascinating. It is like, and it happens already when you board the plane. So when a pregnant woman boards the plane and her child she's let's say 4 months pregnant, and her child is then born 5 months later in America, the child is already more susceptible to diabetes and heart diseases. It's fascinating. It's something only Indians have, and we don't know why. It's a mystery.
Yeah, fascinating. So, Adjiedj, I have time for 2 more questions. What, in your view, are the most significant obstacles to achieving Happynomy globally, and how can some of these obstacles be overcome?
Well, one of the things we see today, the Earth is not circling the sun in a circle, but in an oval.
Elliptical, yeah.
Once in every year, the Earth and the sun are closer to each other, and their magnetic fields influence each other. And the same happens with the planet Jupiter, a massive planet. Also, sometimes it's closer to us and then the magnetic fields interfere. And when this happens, people get short-tempered and get irritated faster, and they get in the survival mood. The last time that was in the 1960s. We had two wars, then the Vietnam War and the Korea War. Today we also have two, the war in Ukraine and the war in Gaza. And we also had a lot of restless people all over the world. It was very, very restless and short-tempered and anxiety. So anxiety and short-tempered, and that is the biggest risk. So what I tell people, for example, meditation and yoga is like vacuum cleaning your head, vacuum cleaning your soul. So invest in that, and not too much anxiety. Put your phone away once in a while. Just take a rest. Just stare out of the window and just take a little now a nap. And so anxiety is the most anxiety and stress. That is the most dangerous now at this time. So just manage your anxiety.
Amazing. And my last question to you, what is the single most important action individuals can take to contribute to a happier, more sustainable future, as per the principle laid out in your book?
Well, it starts, for example, with, for example, I manage, for example, my garbage. So don't throw away too many plastic in nature. Don't try to reuse it. Try to reuse your garbage. That starts with that. And the second one is, of course, start with living healthy, and do that, do that wise. So, and that starts with that, because what you see is. One of the I live in the West, and one of the things I see, which is a big difference between Westerners and Easterners. A lot of people here are rich, but they don't smile. They're not happy. And in India, even in the slums, I see a lot of people. They are poor, but they still smile. They still manage to play. The children play with each other, play with the rain, play with it. So that is enjoy the small happiness in life, small things that cause happiness in life. Because if you're not happy with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, you will also not be happy with a yacht.
Great response. Adjiedj, on that note, I just want to say thank you so much for speaking to me, as always, with so much passion, so much clarity, and so much depth. Today, we spoke about Happynomy, your book. I think we covered a lot of ground and given your amazing understanding of so many different subjects, you were able to bring forth some really powerful messages to our viewers and listeners. Thank you again for speaking to me, and good luck to you.
And thank you for giving me the stage, Ashraf. Thank you very much. I'm always happy to share my knowledge with people in India.
Thank you for listening to the Brand Called You videocast and podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the Brand Called You.